Hi, Sarah Banas here, Learn to Craft. I'm going to show you something really neat today. I'm going to show you how to build name flowers. These are just a really fun craft that great gifts for grandmas, but also for moms. There's a lot that you can do with it. It's a really fun, neat tool. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to link everything that we use here in the video description. I'm also going to link our Facebook group. We have a bunch of them. I'm going to link Cricut for Beginners. It's about maybe 590,000 members. Super friendly, super helpful. You'll fit right in. Make sure you join us. I'll also link the fonts that I've used here so that if you want these particular ones, you can grab them. So that'll be in the video description when you're looking at the video on YouTube. Underneath, there'll be an arrow down or it'll say click here for more. Click on that. It'll expand. Everything will be linked in there. The other thing real quick, if this video is of interest to you or helpful, like the video, but also subscribe to my channel. I'm coming out with a ton of new videos, probably 1 or 2 a week. Just lots of videos on not just projects. There are a lot of projects that I show you how to make, but more importantly, learning how to design for yourself. I feel like that's such an important part of this craft, and it's a fun part of it. It's its own element that it's just really enjoyable, especially when you learn how to do font work and really learn how to build your own designs. So, like I said, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of videos coming out that you're not going to want to miss. So let's go ahead and get started. We can get rid of this, and we can get rid of this. So this is the design that we're going to make. The first thing we need to talk about is we need to talk about font glyphs. So if you already know how to use font glyphs, this is just going to be quick. But for those of you that don't know how to use font glyphs, it's incredibly easy. Font glyphs are extras in fonts, often decorative, like this D, the M, the S, the D, and the N. Those are all font glyphs. So I'm going to show you real quick. So that font is... I'm going to link this font in the video description also. This is such a great font. I just recently got it and I am in love with it. So let me just show you when I type this out, the difference in the way it looks from the way that it looks here. So do you see, excuse my Grammarly button. Let me get rid of that. The D, the M, the S, the D here, and the N. So those are all font glyphs that I have copied and pasted in and gotten rid of the originals to make the text work decorative. I'm going to link in the video description. So glyphs are used differently in depending on the hardware that you use. So your hardware is if you're a PC user, if you're a Mac user, if you're an iOS user, which would be iPad or iPhone. Each one of those hardware has a different way to access font glyphs. I'm going to link in the video description how for a video for each one of those three, how to access font glyphs. It's incredibly easy and a skill that you definitely want to have. You want to be able to do that. So check that out. If you don't know how to use font glyphs already, we're going to be using them here. You're going to see me working through the font glyphs. But if you don't know how to do it, and this is, you can't follow along, or if you're on a Mac, because I'm on a PC, if you're on a Mac or iOS, you'll want to click on the link in the video description and, go watch that video. After this, you can. It'll all make sense then. So font glyphs are not just for this type of, for decorating fonts, but also when you're using fonts that are extras or ornaments. There's tons of fonts out there that come with an additional font, that the additional font is actually ornaments to decorate that font. So that's kind of what I have done here. These flower heads, these are all from a font called Bambi. Bambi is The font itself is a pretty font. I don't use it a terribly lot, but what's amazing about the font that I use all the time are the two sets of extras that come with it. It comes with Bambi flower sticks and it comes with Bambi woodland. Both of them are fantastic. So these three flower heads I grabbed out of the extras in that font. You don't have to do that. If you would prefer to use any flower that you have that you like the flower at Flower SVG, obviously, that you like the flower head to, you can cut that flower head off. Just snip it off there, take different shapes and cut whatever else is on the flower right off there, leaving you just the flower head, and do that. This is much easier. And I'll link Bambi. I'll link Bambi in the video description also. So let's go ahead and let's open up. Let me show you here. Anytime you're working with font glyphs, the font that you have selected in your software, the software here being Cricut Design Space. So we have Sweet Boho selected. We need to select Bambi, Flower 6. Okay. And if you didn't know how to use font glyphs, you could just, randomly type out letters until you find the one that you want. Font glyphs are a much easier way to do it. So this one I'll just go ahead and keep because that is one of the ones that we want. So, and I'm going to duplicate this 3 times because we're doing 3. And you do need your base, your base where you're deleting and then pasting in your glyphs. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to go to, so now let me just say, if you do know how to use font glyphs on a PC, but you're still using the character map that is built into Windows to access those glyphs, go watch the video that I'm going to link in the video description. It'll show you how to use a different character map. It'll show you, I think UI is the one that I used in the video, but UI or UWP, either one is fine. And then the video that I link in the video description will show you how to get these. They're free. So this is one of the glyphs that we want. So I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to Control V. And there's that. And now I'm going to get rid of this one. And I'm going to grab my last one, which is the rose-ish one. Copy that. And then Control V. And so these are my 3 flower heads. See how much easier that was than trying to slice off a stem on a random flower. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you're going to find a flower head that you just absolutely love, and you want to take the time to slice that stem off of there. And there's nothing wrong with that. For me, this is easier. So I'm going to decrease the size of these a little bit. So now to make your stem, all this stem is font work. So this is a font that has end extenders on it. Okay, so this, and I'll link this font in the video description also. This is one of my all-time favorites. I use this font all the time. This is almost 100% of the time when I'm using a font that has end extenders, this is the one I go to. So Shavana is the first name. You see that I skipped the S. I skipped the S because I don't want to go back and have to delete it. I'm grabbing the glyph for that, and I'm grabbing the glyph for the N. So I'm not going to type in the S or the N. Silly Grammarly. It really is a great app. So now I'm going to go back to my character map, and I'm going to type in whole story. Okay, and then I'm going to slide down to, I know that I need the S that has the left extender. That's this one. Copy. And you need to be in your text where you want to paste it. And then, and don't be intimidated by this. Glyphs are simple as can be. I mean, you can kind of see from just watching this, even if you're unfamiliar, but once you watch the how to use GLYPHS video, you're going to be like, oh, wow, that's really simple. I can't believe I didn't know that. Oops. That's the wrong one. I'm not using that one. I'm using this one. Sorry, I have 2 character maps installed. And then I need the N. Copy. And then I'm going to paste that in there. Now, because I'm making 3 names, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this now, just so I don't have to go back and do that later. So I can put these off to the side down here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn this 90 degrees. I can manually turn it with this right here, this handle. I want it exactly 90, so I'm just going to go up to rotate on the top middle, and I'm going to go to 90 degrees. Okay. And now let's talk about, do you see how if I put that on there, it looks okay, but I'm going to send this to the back. The only reason, just so that anybody who doesn't understand why I'm sending it to the back, you can see how it's on top of this. You can just see just a little tiny bit. You can see it on top. It's not going to matter once we weld it, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to send it to the back. So, what I did is I moved that layer behind this layer. So you can see here, this looks okay, but do you see how this is a little bit thinner? The lines are just a little bit thinner than the lines in the flower. What you want to do, you might remember, well, I'm sure you do, you probably remember fonts always used to have a bold. Like you could get the font and then it came with a bold also. So the way that you make a font bold now is with an offset. Okay, so with this selected, I'm actually going to make this much larger. It'll make our offset. Sometimes when you're offsetting, it'll fill in the middle of letters if you have it too small when you're offsetting. So make it larger. That's how you avoid that. Okay, now offset is right here. See that? I'm going to click on that. And I already know that I'm probably going to want this right around 0.028. It's probably going to be just about right. And then I'm going to click apply. So do you see how it's just that tiny little bit that I'm just giving it a little bit of weight to it, okay? So I'm going to move this off to the side in case that isn't heavy enough so that I still have it. And I'm going to decrease the size of this so I am able to work with it. Okay, and I'm going to want it even a little bit smaller than that. And now, so I want the name actually facing the other way. So right here with it selected, I'm going to go to flip. And I want it facing the other way 2 ways. First off, I don't want it going down. I want it reading up. So I'm going to flip that vertically first off, and then I'm going to flip it horizontally. So now it's reading the right way and it's going up. Okay. So now I'm going to take this. If I were to do this again, I probably even would give that a little bit more weight. That isn't quite enough. That's a little bit too thin for my liking, at least. I'd probably give it a little bit more weight. But for the sake of the video, I'm not going to make it any longer than it has to be. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take these two and you are going to weld them together. And when you weld it, it makes it one single layer. So now this is no longer a name and a flower. This is now one layer. Okay. And let's put this to the side. And then the same thing with this. Super easy, right? So, oops. So you can see that there's really nothing to this. This is just incredibly easy. So at this point, you would be able to go build this for yourself, right? If you do have any other questions, you can feel free to ask them underneath the video, in the video on YouTube, in the questions section there, or better yet, ask me right in the group. Come join me in the group. I'm always there. You're welcome to approach me and ask me any questions that you have. I'm always happy to help. And I'll link all of this in the video description. I'll link this font, absolutely fantastic. I'll link Bambi, which gives you the flower heads. Actually, let me show you something else real quick too that you can do with Bambi. It's just a great font. But I'll link all of that in the video description. I'll link the Bambi, this font, and the font that I use for Grandma's Garden. And then I'll link the group. So let me just show you real quick before anybody who has everything they need. I'll finish making the design, but anybody who's, done and has everything they need, you don't have to see how it works. So, but let's go ahead and let's take a look at, let me show you something real quick. So with Bambi, Flower Stick, let me show you actually real quick because this is just such a great font. So Bambi also has Woodland, I told you. This is Woodland. Woodland has one in particular that I love. Let me find it. This guy. How great is that? That's like the best moose ever. So that's the other one that comes with Bambi. But let me show you something else you can do if you want to. So what you can do if you want to is you can take something like this, right? And then switch it back to Bambi. And then you can go like this. And you can take these leaves and you can slice those right off of there, and then add those to your flowers. So to do that, I would take a circle, smaller, oops, and then I would take that and I would slice. You can get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, and that's going to leave you with just your leaf. So then you can take and you can put these on the bottom. Say you just wanted to put one right there. Well, I guess that would be too low. But like you could put one right here. And you can just do that. Like that's one additional thing that you can do to add on to this. Just a cute little thing. I personally like it with just the name. But that's it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. It's just such a simple, easy craft. Just super fun. So anybody who wants to stick around, I'll make the other names real quick. So then we're going to take and and then go back to whole story. And we need the S again. So that is the left pointing S. Control B, oops, that's not what we wanted. Control B, and then we need the E. So the E is, and then you need the other E going the other way. So this is the E, and that's copy, and then Control V to paste. And same thing, so I'm gonna make this larger. And then I'm gonna offset it. I'm gonna increase the offset just a little bit. I wouldn't normally do that because like I said, you want all three of them, they have the same offset, but this is just for the sake of the video, so that's fine. So get rid of that, and then I'm gonna make this smaller so I can move it. And then I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. Okay, and then again, I'm going to see how it's got the S on top reading down. I want it reading bottom to top. So I'm going to flip vertically, and then I'm going to flip horizontally. And then it gives it the right, so that it's in the right direction and reading up. Okay, and then I'm going to decrease the size of this some. Let's change the color of this so that everything matches. So I can make this a little bit bigger. And you want to it's kind of a balancing act because some names are going to be much shorter than other names, but you want them all to be the same at the bottom. So it's okay if the flower heads are a little bit shorter, but you want them all to match at the bottom. So I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to weld them into a single layer. Okay, and then I just have the one more. So, and that one is Alicia. So we'll start here. And everything but the first and the last. And then you need that last A. Control V. And you need the first A. Which is this. Copy. Control V. You can see how it may have seemed like there was a lot of information I gave out in this video, but ultimately it's just incredibly, incredibly easy. And once you get going and you do one or two, you'll see that it's just super, super easy. Get rid of that. And actually, we can also get rid of this one that I moved over here. And we're going to take that down in size. We're going to flip that 90, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to take this. And you know what I should have done is I should have taken the shortest name and given it this one because that's the tallest flower. And I should have given that to the shortest name. That would have kind of balanced them out a little bit better, but that's okay. No harm, no foul. Put that like that. Actually, I want to move this over just a little bit. Perfect. And then select both of those two layers, and then I'm going to weld them into a single layer. And that's it. That is all there is to name flowers. So let's go ahead. Might as well finish it off here. We will put the glyphs on Grandma's garden. And so what do we need? We need the D, the M, and the S. And those are from... Okay, so we need the D. See how many glyphs this one has? I love this font. Just super. There's something that's just incredibly elegant about it. Which M did I use? This M. Copy. Control V. And that S I did switch out also. And the S that I used is... I know I used something basic. Which one is it? I think it's that one. Copy. Control V. And then these ones are my favorite in this font. There's just something special about this particular set of glyphs. The ones that have this little loop on it. I really like that. Control V, and then just one more, which is the N. And that is, let's grab that one real quick. That's this. Copy. And Control V to paste, and that's all there is to it. So that is your entire design. It is literally all there is to it. Again, it may have seemed like a lot of information, but once you take it down to the individual elements, which are, just the building of the flowers, which is super easy, and then learning how to use glyphs, which is, again, incredibly easy. Just check out the video. I'll link it all in the video description for each of the 3 different hardwares. Super easy. Pick the hardware that you're using, and you'll know how to use glyphs for that hardware. And that's it. If you have any questions at all, like I said, ask them under the video here, or join me in the group. Ask me directly. Make sure you do join the group. Everything will be linked in the video description. All the fonts, all the Bambi for the flower heads. And that's it. I hope you have a great day. Bye.